Shri Ganeshaya Namo Namah. Greetings to everyone world over, all our brothers and sisters across the globe. Green morning, green afternoon, and green evening. Just we are one more day away. Tomorrow is going to be 31st of January. And then on 1st of February, you get next budget of India. That's 2023. And that's going to be the major last budget before we move for the next general election in India in 2024. There's a lots of expectations from this particular budget world over because our non-resident Indian, because our chamber plays very important role with our brothers and sisters across the globe. Those are settled overseas, those are traveling overseas, those want to do business in India, but they are overseas. A lot of corporate are approaching us, getting in touch with us. As our chamber, from the name itself, you can take ICSI's International Chamber for Service Industry. Our focus is service industry. And what are the expectations from the budget 2023, today and tomorrow? Today, I give you the teaser. And tomorrow, I discuss in detail with you everything with regard to the budget and what is expected in the service industry that we will be taking up tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, our brothers and sisters across the globe, हमारे सभी भाई बहन जितने भी बाहर गए हुए 32 million Indian diaspora. और देखिए वसुधैव कुटुंबकम, the whole world is one family. All of us, we got to think together, grow together, walk together, talk together. It's a podlocking of the wisdom of the entire globe. There's no more competition with anybody. It's only the collaboration which we all have to realize. It's a collaboration. If it's a collaboration, then let's come forward. All of us, we should be together. We should see how should we make the world grow. Because at present, there is economic challenges. There's a high rate of inflation world over. Fortunately, India is doing so far very well because the adequate precautions have been taken by our government timely and wholeheartedly, professionally. So let's move ahead and let's take on the journey forward. We all know that when we talk about the budget which is coming, there are three important components, and everything whatsoever comes in the budget gets divided into three areas. Either they will be the part of agriculture, or they would be part of the manufacturing, or they would be part of services sectors, service industry. When I talk about service industry, agriculture and manufacturing, both, they require services up to the great extent, the best possible way, whatsoever can be done over there. That is something which we all have to understand. And service sector is future. It contributes maximum to the GDP of India. We all have to understand today. Let's move ahead. Welcome to the service industry when we talk about. Now, there's a very big range if you see it over here. It is very difficult for me to go through each and every segment because there are so many services, but let me just take the broader areas so that we all understand. Of course, education is there, skills is there, tourism is there, hospitality is there, airline is there, and of course, the health and wellness services. And besides that, we will talk about IT, ITS also, because they generate maximum revenue from the services exports in India. Tomorrow, we are going to take on some major sectors and we will talk about what the industry feels and what basically the services sector experts, they feel world over as well as in India. And we will have the detailed discussions with you tomorrow. Let me today quickly just share with you airline services, travel and tourism services, and hospitality services. I'm taking all three segments. Then you have got the health and wellness. When you talk about that, medical value tourism is very important. I still recall when we were all together making those 12 champion sectors with the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, then the Joint Secretary, and then Additional Secretary, and then Secretary and his entire team together. All of us, we were working on. So those 12 champion sectors also, we will talk tomorrow separately because tomorrow would be the last curtain raiser before we move on to the budget next morning, and we'll see what all is coming through the predictions, what we will convey to you. Then comes media entertainment industry. You've got electronic media, you've got television, radio, cinema, print media, newspapers, magazines, and the photography services and the couple of other range. And now the AVGC also, if you remember, Shri Anurag Thakurji gave the great vision onto that, the Honorable Information and Broadcasting and the Sports Minister of India. Thereafter, you come on to the leisure services. You may call it a holiday and leisure services, or you may call it exclusively, you're not taking a holiday, but in the evening you're going somewhere and all that. There are theme parks, there could be clubs, and there could be multiplexes. You could have lot of leisure services because it would differ from person to person. Everybody would decide at their own what they enjoy, what they really like. Let's move ahead. When we talk about retail services, now in retail chain, you have got a lot of stores, you've got different retail malls, you've got eating joints, you have got warehouses, and you have got a couple of other stores which are available. All that is also to be taken into consideration. And then comes your public relation, advertising, and MICE industry. MICE, we all understand, that is your meeting, incentive, conferences, and exhibition. So that also has to be taken into consideration. Public relations services, basically advertising services. Now advertising is by various methods, but of course, social media is the most powerful today. Everybody's trying to use those tools. Then come financial services, your banking sector, your insurance sector, your stock exchange, your foreign exchange services, your investment services, your mutual fund services. And there are many financial consultants and advisors which are providing services related to finance and financial services. And then comes the powerhouse of the service industry. That's your IT and ITES. When you talk about information technology and information technology enabled services, you've got to be taking into consideration, because a lot is coming in this area. You've got a software implementation services, installation services, repairing of their computers and iPads and mobile phone and network. Then comes the network services, engineering services, web designing, web hosting services, maintenance. And then, of course, you have got data processing services, data management services. Data is the new oil, which we all understand and we take very seriously into consideration. That also we have to understand, all of us. Move from there, you've got the BPO, KPO, and LPO. Okay, you have got the business process outsourcing, you've got the knowledge process outsourcing, and you've got legal profession, services outsources also. That also we have to take into consideration, because Indian Constitution, it was made taking the input from almost 11, the Constitution of the world together, studied and incorporated in R2, because India's constitution is the biggest and the largest. It took almost 2 years and 11 months and 18 days to make India's constitution. It is the world biggest. Okay. Then comes your telecommunication and communication services. Then you've got infrastructure services, where you have got the housing, the real estate, and infrastructure development. All that you have to take, construction services, all that. Then comes your transportation services. You've got railways, you've got airlines, you've got cabs, you've got road transport. Now the space flights are also there, cruises are there, public transportation is there, private transportation is there, water transportation is there, air transportation is there, car rental is there. And besides that, now the medical ambulances, air taxis and all that, that is also. And then of course, you have got private charters and private aircraft services as well. When we were talking about PR, advertising, and MICE industry, it also comes to our mind. There is also sales, marketing related services. You've got marketing consultants, you've got telemarketing, you've got new product development, services, you've got sales promotion services, market research services, digital marketing services, all that is services. And then of course, somebody can take on office administration services also. You got to maintain the office records, you got to manage them. You can give the management consultancy also. Nowadays, facility services are also being provided. People outsource like a housekeeping department and others. So facility management, that is also there. Secretarial services, because somebody is providing you secretariat services, that is also there. Then comes HR and consultancy services. Now, it could be pre-placement, it could be post-placement, it could be placement services, it could be headhunting, and it could be post-placement services also. That also one can take into consideration. Then comes your human resources and consultancy, that all, and along with that, you've got a very big chunk when you talk about education, counseling, and research. We were talking earlier, market research. Over here, research and innovation related to education, skills, competencies, capabilities, counseling, coaching, mentoring, all that you talk about. A lot of coaching centers and a lot of, the skill centers. And at the same time, a lot of consultants now giving services for children to get a job in India or to go overseas. It may be for education purposes, it may be for job purposes. So there are lots of services related to education and counseling, and of course, research. Then comes distribution services. The Honorable Prime Minister had a very big document being developed on logistics. That is something very important, which we all have to understand. And then, of course, you have got wholesale trade services, retail services, franchisee services, and then you've got a professional services. People give you professional services as well. Like interior designing is there, and fashion designing is there, translation services are there, somebody does the shorthand services, packaging services, architectural services, taxation services, engineering services, medical and dental services, investigation and security and cyber security services. Now, security is also a very big concern, because when the telecom industry and technology is coming in a very big way, ITS implementation, you got to understand that you got to have the data security, you got to have everywhere financial documents, medical documents, official documents, defense documents, all that requires services. And then agriculture and manufacturing, they both require services. When you talk about, let's take it, agro-related services, you have got agro distribution services, rural marketing services, agro-based research services, you've got rural IT and ITS, you've got a rural banking, you've got rural insurance, you've got rural cooperatives, you've got rural tourism, agri-tourism, nature tourism, farm tourism. All that is a part of agriculture, which we have to take into consideration. Then comes the manufacturing sector, like you have the automobile and other items. So it is something like after sales services. You have sold the laptop to somebody, you have sold the mobile to somebody. So you got to take into consideration what kind of services are required. Then comes research and development services, then transportation and warehousing services. And then you've got outsourcing, in agriculture sector and manufacturing sector, which you have to take into consideration. And then besides that, there's a huge range of services. Somebody is a florist, somebody is social services, old age homes are there, caretakers are there, and you have got dry cleaning services, utility services, electricity and gas, your water, your other appliances, their repair, their maintenance, monthly maintenance, yearly maintenance, and many more segments of the economy you have to take into consideration. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's a huge basket and there's a huge range as far as services are concerned, where we can do wonders. That part has to be taken into consideration. We will take on details. Now, these were the 12 champion sectors, which were identified by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, way back in February 2018. Honorable Prime Minister and Planning Commission at that time, CEO Mr. Amitabh Kant and his team, everybody gave the final clearance. And then thereafter, Ministry of Commerce got the allocation of 5,000 crores for these 12 champion sectors, and they were distributed to the respective industries to take the vision forward. So let's empower the entire ecosystem of the services industry through education, through research, through innovation, through skills, through competencies, through employment, through entrepreneurship, and creating intensive awareness of what all services sector can give to our country. Now, education. Now, this is one of the recommendation and expectation, because, the government of India, when they gave the Nipun Bharat mission, I think some more allocations are required for this particular sector, education at all levels. And when you talk about Nipun, that means National Initiative for proficiency in reading with understanding and numeracy. That is Nipun Bharat. So we got to adapt the EdTech technology in the execution of the Nipun Bharat using remote teaching models with the active public-private partnership, and that could be the game changer. So there got to be an increased budgetary allocation. This is one of the expectations by the industry as far as Nipun Bharat mission is concerned. The highest priority of the education system as mandated by the NEP 2020 should be to achieve universal foundational literacy and numeracy in primary school level schools, for the students by 2025. So to achieve this most basic learning requirements, that is your reading, writing, basic arithmetics at the foundational level, there is an expectation to increase the allocation of the funds for the Nipun Bharat scheme, or maybe some new name comes up. So meanwhile, you can go through www.schoolcompanion.in. Okay. At the higher level of education, there is some more clarity required for 3 areas. Number one, we announced in the last budget, that is on 1st February 2022, that digital university coming to India, and there'll be online education system. So more clarification is required in the budget 2023. When are we starting it? Will it be functional from July 2023? And where all it is coming up, so that the students, those are planning to go for digital education, because I personally feel that the technology can play a very important role for all of us. And if we adopt technology, we can help large number of students, large number of teachers and educators. And I think education can move a real sense into the next higher level. And also we have got 3.1% being spent of the GDP at present as far as education sector is concerned. But NEP 2020, we have made commitment of 6%. Let's see in this budget, we expect a little more push to be given to the education with technology. Clarification is needed as far as the foreign universities coming to India. We got to understand it better, how they are going to recruit the students, what would be the fee structure, how the things would be, and what would be the tax implications. Because before investment in this budget, the foreign universities are looking forward to, if we come to India, what kind of a tax exemption and tax benefits we are going to get. A lot of NRIs are asking us this question, and we got to take on that. And there got to be a more focus on research and innovation and adopting the technology at all levels. This is something very important. I was talking to my counterpart, our advisor in US, Professor Vivek Shankar Natarajan, who is the innovative and a very dynamic marketing professor. I was talking with him in the Lamar University, and he was telling Dr. Sharma, we need more clarification on what would be the tax regime, tax structure, tax implications, and what incentive the foreign universities are getting. Because a lot of people are asking our chamber advisors also abroad that what exactly is the vision. So we are just a day before, and that means day after tomorrow, you get the complete clarification on that. And we are expecting good incentives coming in education sector with technology. Now, there is also a demand from the industry that there should be a free internet for the students and teachers across India. Why not to give this particular facility? And our chamber very strongly recommends that as the corporate have to spend 2% of their, the profits, whatever they have got on the CSR activities, why don't we work out a strategy that we should plan it out, that for the next at least 2 to 3 years, we should spend that 2% of the CSR on education, on youth, on educators, on capacity building, on technology adoption with a focused approach in education. Now, when we expect government to announce an e-visa scheme for international tourists, I think to give a boost to the tourism industry, earlier, like the government gave announcement, during the thick of the pandemic, that first 5 lakh people who would be coming to India, they'll be given the free visa. Why not to extend to 5 lakh more additional? Let's give incentive, because if you give this incentive, I think more people will come, and our travel trade, which suffered heavily during the pandemic, they would have a little oxygen and they will feel little better. they would feel little supported, because the scheme, which was provided earlier, SEIC scheme, that was removed, and our travel trade had been conveying and requesting quite a bit to the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. But I personally feel not much has been done in this direction, even by the Export Promotion Council, because it is badly needed. As far as the travel trade is concerned, they should get, they should get encouragement. It may be a small amount, but it gives them a kick, and it gives them feeling that, look, we are being taken care of, and the government really wants to promote. Then comes the hospitality industry. Their expectations are also there, that the homestays, because now people are not interested to go for mass tourism. They want to go for selective tourism, family holidays, small groups, and small, they would like to travel in isolation to the green areas, neat and nature-based and everything. So maybe in the homestays, villa, the new regulations which can come, and what could be the tax structure and tax procedures as far as this industry is concerned, lot is expected. And we got to adopt technology, and that is also there. And if that is there, then in this budget, we expect that for the services sector, particularly in education, for skills, and for tourism, hospitality, the artificial intelligence will further come in an innovative way, in a bigger way, and we got to see it. There got to be greater implementation in the digital technology and automation, and startups. They all should get incentive. Why not the startup in the tourism industry, like you have got MakeMyTrip.com, Ease My Trip, and Easy Travel, and you have got lots of other apps which have come up, and lots of edtech platforms which have come up. Government should give some incentive to them also, so that they can further proceed and they can do better. With these words, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to discuss in detail everything with you tomorrow evening, where I would like to give you the total perspective, the complete profile, and the entire industry, the different segments of services sector. What are the expectations, and what does our chamber recommend as far as the service sector and the service industry is concerned in the budget 2023. Look forward meeting you tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. तब तक के लिए खुश रहिए, मुस्कुराते रहिए, सोचते रहिए, और अगर आपके कोई सजेशन होंगे तो कल YouTube के ऊपर अपने सजेशन जरूर भेजिएगा। और आज की शाम जो विनर हैं वो हमारे हैं साक्षी चौहान from Uttarakhand, to get 1,000 rupees reward for posting beautiful captions and everything in today's YouTube channel. With these words, look forward meeting you tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. कल बहुत कुछ डिस्कस करेंगे हम।